With everything that's going on in the world today, it's good to have a question, I guess, in our minds of something to keep our mind occupied on, if you will. Now, the question I have is, if a really religious person, two religious people, were to have a child playing for a football team, and both of them prayed that their child's team would win, who would God listen to? You know, what makes God listen to our prayers? And it's a question that, it's always been asked, is does God hear me? And there's a story in the Bible that it reminds me of. And I'm going to the book of James, chapter 5, verse 17. Elias, which is also known as Elijah, was a man subject like passions as we are, and he prayed earnestly that it would not rain, and it did not rain on the earth by a space of 3 years and 6 months. Now this is coming from the story of 1 Kings chapter 1. Well, 1 Kings chapter 17, verse 1. Now, when you go back to 1 Kings 17:1, and Elijah, the Tishbite, who was of the inhabitants of the Galilee, said unto Ahab, As the Lord God of Israel liveth, before whom I stand, there shall not be dew nor rain these years, but according to my word. And what he said happened. But in Kings, he said, As I stand before the Lord. In James, it says, Elijah, a man subject like passions as we are, prayed earnestly. Now, was there any other religious people on the face of the entire earth in Elijah's time, Elias's time, that prayed that it would rain? Did they ask God, please, Lord, let it rain? For we're starving to death. 3 years without rain, 3 years and 3.5 years without rain and no dew is a long time. You're going to be facing some famine. That's a bad drought. So no one else had faith enough in God to ask God for it to rain. Why not? Because see, if you can answer that question, you figured something out. Why is it that God listened to Elijah's prayer and no one else's? Was it Elijah's faith? Again, you cannot tell me that there was nobody else upon the face of the earth that had faith in that time. If you can answer that one question, keep your mind upon that. Study the Bible. Study about Elijah. Study about all the things that he did. And you figure that out, why God listened to his prayers and nobody else's. And maybe then you'll find the strength to be able to pray for this nation, to be able to pray for this world. And something good will change. Something good will come from it. Have a blessed day.